We got a lot of stuff that's going on right now that, it's kind of timely with Luigi Magione, you know, the protest for that, and, Tesla, Elon, and, United. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on. But let's start off with something very important that you and I were talking about. I think it's probably the most important issue that most people are not aware of. And that is your favorite movie. Your favorite movie of all time is?
The Dark Knight, the second film in the Christopher Nolan Batman series.
And why is it the second one?
Well, everyone expects me to say that I'm into like really cutting edge documentaries like by Adam Curtis and Errol Morris and stuff like that. But I actually just love Batman. And I loved it so much when it first came out in 2012. I saw it 5 times in a row in Ocean City, New Jersey, every matinee for a week straight, just trying to really digest all of the different subplots and narratives.
Which character, though? Like,
I mean, there's the Joker, there's Commissioner Gordon, there's Christian Bale's Batman character was amazing. There's just so much. Batman Begins was a great, segue to The Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises didn't really do it for me. A little bit too political.
Too political for you.
Well, Dark Knight Rises was like a metaphor for the Occupy Wall Street movement going too far. When they start, when Bane is supposed to be like the commander of Antifa, and they roll up in the New York Stock Exchange and start shooting people and stuff.
Too divisive.
Well, it was literally like, I feel like it was subsidized in some way by Wall Street.
Yeah. But character-wise, like, who do you relate? Because for me, for the longest time, my podcast set had 3 characters behind me: Batman, Joker, and the Incredible Hulk. And it's like the 3 personalities I relate to, right? But which one was it where you said, I kind of feel like I'm this guy in this movie?
Well, this is a hard one to answer, because if I say I'm like the Joker, that makes me sound like I'm a dark, sort of sinister.
But I have a Joker side to me as well.
You have a lot of vengeance in you, where you get Joker brain.
It's not though. It's when you see somebody that, when you're sick and tired of being taken advantage of, and you can't let go of you choose a wrong enemy can really destroy your life, and I think that's what happened to him. He couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
But he's a hero to a lot of people as well. A lot of people followed his fire and the pain that he had.
Yeah. I would say that I'm somewhere in between Batman and the Joker.
Okay.
But I think that the Joker is definitely a relatable character, more so in The Dark Knight than he was in the Joaquin Phoenix movie a couple years ago, which I know you said you were not a fan of.
Dude, I walked out 43 minutes into the movie. I go and I look at my wife. We had 20 people at the movies. Rob, were you with us or no when we watched a Joker?
No.
So we're in a movie theater. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. Why? So this is divisive, man. You're pinning America against America. We don't need more of this. And it's interesting because that movie, what ends up happening at the end of that movie? He ends up killing, is it Robert De Niro, who is that, like the Johnny Carson character of the movie?
Yeah, he says, how about another joke, Murray? And he kills him. And that was after he killed a couple bankers on the subway.
After he kills a couple bankers on the subway. And then that leads to one of the stories, the Luigi Magione story.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, here's a guy, you got Luigi Magione, you look at his background, stud of a guy, student, good grades, everything's looking good, minus the last 90 minutes he disappears, 90 days he disappears, where you can't really see what's happening there. And the people he followed on X, I was one of them. He followed some 74 people who were libertarian type of guys that he followed. So it's not like he followed only right or only left or only middle. He was open-minded, is what he seemed like. And then all of a sudden, the rage gets there to want to take out the United Healthcare CEO. How much, when you hear that story, you went to the rally, by the way, right? What did you hear people saying? Like, what were you noticing that caused people to go rally for this guy?
Well, I mean, if the manifesto was legitimate, the one that was leaked, that was published by an independent reporter named Ken Klippenstein, if that's real, it seemed like Luigi Magione had a lot of grievances against the health insurance claim denial system, particularly how United Healthcare had implemented AI to automatically deny people's healthcare claims. So people needed treatment, they were paying customers, and there was a machine that had one of the highest insurance claim denial rates of any other major health insurance company.
33%.
Something that was ridiculously high.
Can you pull up that number, Rob?
People were trying to appeal the robot's decision, and it was almost impossible. You were stuck, with someone on the phone for days, and a lot of times during that window where people were waiting to get care, they would pass away. So I'm not sure if he had someone in his family who was affected by the healthcare policies, but I feel like a lot of people in my generation are kind of fed up with things not changing. The cost of living being ridiculously high, the wages being really low, and they felt like Luigi Magione was something like a martyr who spoke for the rage of the collective public who feels like nothing is changing.
So what do you think is the level to go to? Because some people, what's the one girl lately that's been talking about Luigi Magione in a very complimentary way? Tracy, is it Loren?
Taylor Lorenz.
Taylor Lorenz. Have you heard about Taylor Lorenz?
Yeah, she helped us whenever we lost all gas during a contractual dispute. She leaked all the information, which kind of segued millions of fans to Channel 5. So shout out to her for that. I'm not sure what she was saying about Luigi. But I think that basically probably what I'm assuming she was saying is that many people felt like he represented the call for direct action. And there's a generational shift to the idea that awareness culture and raising awareness doesn't actually create change. So there's a lot of people
Say that one more time.
There's kind of an idea that has persisted over the course of the past couple years, especially with the progressive left in the U.S., that raising awareness doesn't do much to actually create change. And so for someone to break out of the mold of like making people aware and actually take things a step further made people feel some type of revolutionary spirit.
Wow. So even if it means killing the CEO.
Mm-hmm. Well, because their logic is, how many people have died as a result of their healthcare claims being denied.
Yeah.
Health insurance claims,
Yeah. So to somebody that is going through this and you're touching and you're talking to people and you're hearing the arguments at the protest, walking away, what argument got for you to say, it's a little too much? And what argument was like, you know what, these guys may have a point in this area? Which one was it?
Well, I mean, the reality is that regardless of like how I felt about the opinions, killing a bunch of CEOs is not going to change any of that infrastructure in the health insurance industry. You know what I mean? That's not like
for sure. I agree with that. See, that was my concern with the movie Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So here's your chance for me to be a hero.
But the fact that it spurred conversations, I thought was interesting. I mean, it was fascinating to see such the instant valorization of Luigi that happened overnight. Everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's so hot. We love him. He's our hero. It was interesting because that was very much poisoned by the social media algorithms of the time, where like Luigi Magione becomes a hero to so many. And in general, I think that it did spark some good conversations. But I think you can acknowledge that while still saying it's not good to shoot people in the back of the head in the street.
Rob, what's that clip, by the way, you just had? Because I think that's the one where she breaks down her argument, right? Can you play this clip? I think she does a good job explaining why she's for Luigi Magione. And I don't think she's alone. I think there's a lot of people that are probably on her side as well. Go ahead, Rob.
Hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts, and we give them Netflix shows. There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and the angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels. And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen, because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
The women who gather outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like, here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
Yeah, I just realized women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we are. I'm sure you wouldn't like to be
comfortable. By the way, he's doing a pretty good job. I've been seeing his stuff last 2 weeks, and I think he's actually doing a pretty good. I don't know who he is, but
yeah, I think she broke it down quite well in terms of like the romantic appeal as well.
I mean, you hear the stories. Who are some of the people that ladies would be lined up in prison just to kind of see him? Was it Charles Manson? Who else was it, Rob? Like people would be lined up outside.
Ted Bundy. He had the Menendez brothers who killed their parents in California. One of them got married while they were behind bars.
Wow. I mean, every serial killer has typically had like dozens, if not hundreds of women writing them in prison.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think people are just fascinated by the allure of it when people's names are in the headlines, like just someone's sort of profile being that large. Just fame attracts a certain kind of person regardless.
And she said something here, which is very interesting. And I was having this conversation with us, Rob. One day you and I, 7 of us were at Casa D'Angelo. And you even said this once when you were being interviewed with Vice, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the guy asked you. He said something about, did you ever catch yourself, creating content that the audience was reacting to or something like that? I don't know what the context of it was, but you were kind of explaining that, where she says, I've never had this many followers. That's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
Because who is following you? Who is agreeing with you? Who is saying, man, I like what you have to say. And all of a sudden you're in the room with them. You're like, whoa, I don't relate to you guys. Where did you guys show up?
Yeah. And that's the thing about social media nowadays in particular, is like people kind of become, it's a very fine line to walk when you exist online, is doing things that you believe in and doing things that your fans will appreciate and kind of want you to do. Because once you pigeonhole yourself as a certain type of person, your audience quite well. You know that if you say a certain thing to the audience you've built up that they disagree with, that a lot of them are going to walk away. You know, for example, like there's a lot of people, both conservative and progressive, who might have opinions about different things like abortion, homelessness, drug, gay marriage, Israel, Palestine, that they know that if they speak their opinion on it, they might lose a significant percentage of their audience. And so I think that keeps a lot of people going in line with what they see as like the majority consensus narrative, as opposed to finding a middle ground and having conversations. Because at the end of the day, everyone's trying to survive too.
Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with Valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New Future Looks Bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the Valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with Valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.